Welcome back to another episode of Becoming Limitless. This week is another special guest. Her name is Ivana Bruic, and she runs an incredible spin studio called Storm. Right now, she's located in Mirdif, but there is a beautiful new studio happening on the Palm, and by the time you see this episode, it will be open. I highly recommend you check it out. Ivana is incredibly accomplished, and not just being a local business owner, herself, she is a great athlete. So I'm really looking forward to have a conversation. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Of course, thank you so much. So, Storm.
Yes.
Yeah? I want to start by how you came up with that name, because I love it for a spin studio.
So, very interesting story, actually.
Okay.
Of course, at the beginning, we had branding agency, architect, designer, super excited. First time concept, wanted to make sure everything was super nice and really transcended the story that we were trying to tell. However, the one thing that I couldn't leave with the branding agency was the name. You know, that they came to us with lots of different options, but I think in your heart of hearts, you know when something resonates and when it doesn't.
Right.
So I actually went for a nap. We're in the midst of putting everything together. It was like 8 months. I had quit my job. I was focused just on the brand and getting everything off the ground. And I went for a nap in the middle of the day. And I started thinking about, I think I may have seen things that were sitting in my subconscious level.
Right.
So when I was napping, I started to think about storms and the storms of life and the things that you need to go through to get to where you need to be. And, you know, I started having these little slogans come up with my mind, like they were like, ride it out. You know, the storm will pass. There's always a rainbow at the end of every storm.
Right, yeah.
So when I woke up, jumped up, I went to see if it was free. Stormcycling.com, the URL was not taken.
Oh, wow.
So no, not hyphenated, not dash, nothing, as it is. And then on Instagram, it was also like not taken. So literally I wrote everything out, even had the colors in my mind.
Oh, wow.
The branding colors, everything ready to go, which made it a lot easier for the branding agency, right?
Yeah.
The movement in 2 logos, that came to mind. And honestly put everything together in a presentation for them. And they took over and, of course, fine-tuned it. But that's where it came from, my dreams.
That's amazing. I mean, any local business person here will tell you, if you're starting a business, there's so many hoops and hurdles and other stuff that you have to think of, including the name, the availability, the licensing, all of that stuff. You know, there's so much that we go through when you're doing this. This is partly why I love being able to support each other in this sort of thing, because we need all the support that we can get, truly.
Yeah, exactly.
So people don't realize normally, you know, the intricacy of all of that. You kind of see the end result, but all of the back end stuff that lead you towards it. And then certain things just click. It's incredible. Yeah. So I love the name and I love the story behind it.
Thank you very much.
Now, what do you offer at the studio? What sort of classes do you offer?
Well, we offer like a boutique service. So what I say is when you do things, make sure that you're very good at them. So what we do is we specialize in indoor rhythm cycling.
Nice.
But with Storm, it's a bit of a mental health twist. We like to emphasize that your mental health is your first priority. You know, there's a lot of studios that offer competitiveness, numbers on the screen. We don't like people to walk out feeling unaccomplished.
Right.
And especially as a first time or someone who's a little bit intimidated by training, you sort of want to feel that you're having an emotional connection with the brand. So our first and foremost priority is the customer service from the beginning to the end. From the time that, you know, you call the studio to ask about the classes, the way that you're treated. First time is the way that you're introduced to the concept. Taken to the instructor, having a chat with the instructor, into the class. We offer, like, I think, like a sort of a bespoke, specialized boutique service. And we have 30 clients at the most. It's rhythm riding. We have a meditation, we do an arm section. Then we have different rides. We might have a 60-minute, a 90-minute challenge. There's also a class where we implement resistance band training before you jump on the bike to focus on all the lower muscle groups that you use during riding.
Right.
So yeah.
This is very interesting because I don't know if I told you this, but I've never done spinning before. So I've
Okay.
never been to any classes, and I think
Never?
partly because never.
Okay, well,
I
you
mean, I
will be.
cycle a lot,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
not in a spinning class. Only because I think I found it a little intimidating.
Okay, yeah.
It just doesn't seem that it is my vibe.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
your
yeah.
studio sounds a lot more my vibe.
Yeah.
It is something definitely, and I know that we're going to be checking it out and doing a few things
You're
together.
definitely going to be on the bike, Dr.
Yeah,
Ali.
100%. Yes, I'm looking forward to it actually. We may integrate some
Yes,
biohacking techniques to kind of stack stuff together.
exactly.
Because as important as movement is, sometimes you need your body to have some assistance, to have a little bit more help.
Absolutely.
So I have some ideas of how we could do that. So
Amazing.
we'll keep it a surprise for now,
Okay.
but check out social media to kind of see those sort of things. So spinning for you in your own personal fitness journey, how did you start with it? Has it always been that? What's your fitness journey like?
So my fitness journey started from a young age. I was running track
Okay.
and long distance.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh.
I was running 400 to 3,000,
Oh, nice.
and I was actually 800-meter champion.
Oh, wow.
I ran for state in Queensland, in Australia,
Mm-hmm.
and in 2000 I actually was selected to run with the Olympic torch.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
I was 17. The
Nice.
school selected me. My parents weren't into me playing sports.
Okay.
They didn't believe that sports were for women.
Right. Yeah.
Conservative Eastern European,
Yeah.
first generation, moving from then Yugoslavia to Australia,
Right.
pre-Civil War. We're actually from Croatia.
Yeah.
And so I really loved sports. I really felt that it was always my escape. And for me, my sport is me against me. So when I ran track, I didn't compete with the people next to me. I competed with my own times.
I see.
Yes, for example, I had broken a 9-year record at school for the 800. By the time I got to state, I beat that record by 6 seconds, which is a lot
And of course
in
it
an
is.
800 meter.
100%.
Yeah, so that's where my sporting journey first started. I think I saw a shift in my parents when they saw me with the Olympic torch.
Yeah.
They had a moment of pride.
Yeah.
But I would say that I was a bit cheeky in the way that I used to sneak around. They thought I would be going to maths after school tutorial.
Oh, wow.
But I wasn't. I was going to train with my coach. And I
like
bought
that.
my own shoes. I had a job. It was once a night a week sort of job that my parents let me do. I saved my money and bought my own equipment.
Oh, nice.
So that's how it started.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I left everything for a while. I sort of fell off training. I would go to the gym and stuff, but again, my parents didn't encourage sports so much. I was at university, and then the way that I got back onto it was fast forward many, many years.
Well, not that many.
Many years.
Not that many. Come on.
Okay, not that many, not many. So I had a business in distribution in Dubai, and I had that company for about 5 years. And then I was young with that business. So, it's a first business. You make mistakes. It's very healthy.
Of course.
You learn from them.
Yeah.
And then I turned to fitness because I found that it was my time to focus on myself. I didn't need to deal with any troubleshooting. I didn't need to open up any emails. I could put my phone down. So I started training 1 hour in the evening, 1 hour in the morning. That was my return back into fitness.
Oh, wow.
Then I was asked to audition for the first rhythm riding concept to ever enter the Middle East.
Okay.
And I was like, no way, guys. I don't like RPM. I don't like spinning.
Yeah.
I don't like the energy and the vibe of the competitiveness.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they're like, no, this is different. The master coach, a master coach from Soul Cycle was coming over, commissioned to open this studio. They're like, just come for a session. At that time, my business wasn't working out. I needed something else. So I turned to this. I made it through the audition. I got on the stage and I couldn't speak. And I remember crying, and I said to the lady, I said, why did you choose me? Because it was 3 days of auditions. She said, you have something special inside of you. You might not see it yet. And so I threw myself into that. They're now my competitor studio.
Oh, really?
Hi, guys. And I really loved it. But the part that I loved the most, honestly, the part that I loved the most was the feeling that I found something that brought me a purpose that I could help people. Because at the end of it, in the world of fashion and distribution, I never had anyone come to me and go, you know what, I'm having a really rough time at home, but this made me see another side of life. This class really just alleviated my pain or my stress at home, and you don't even know what you've done for me.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I feel like I have a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
And at university, when we studied business psychology as part of the business degree that I did, you have this thing called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. At the bottom, you had physiological, psychological, the need for shelter, community. Sorry, psychological is that. And then you make your way up this Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I remember studying self-actualizations at the top. But what is self-actualization? How do you reach the top of the tier in terms of your purpose? And I remember sitting on the floor and all the lights had gone out. And this was in my previous studio that I was working for. And we were building the brand. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I feel high on life. I think I discovered what I want to do. And is it really about the writing, or is it really that I just tapped into a way that makes me feel like I'm giving back? And I felt a sense of finding myself in there, because now I feel like I'm useful in life. It's not about making money. It's not about being it's wow, you're actually helping people. And unless you really experience that sort of feedback and that understanding, I don't know if you can reach self-actualization. Then I remember my mind going back to university, and now I understand what the lecturer meant. This is it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had like a buzz through my body. I felt so proud.
Yeah, I understand completely what you're saying. And this is where, in my opinion, most founders go wrong, is when they focus on the money first.
Yeah.
And this is, I mean, there's obviously, you need to, as a founder, there's a balance sheet. You have to, you're always bootstrapping. There's so much happening. But if your number one focus, like the top of the list, is money, I think 9 times out of 10, you're just not going to make it. There has to be a piece of you in the business.
Absolutely.
That's why, when you reach a point that you are either exiting it or selling it or moving on or whatever, this is one of the key things that they look for. Like, is it still your baby or not your baby anymore? Because we call it our baby. It is almost like a child. You dedicate almost every fiber of your being. And having a business with a very strong purpose is just that much more rewarding. And purpose, thank you for mentioning it, is incredible also for your health journey, for your own mental health journey, for your own physical journey also. So to have a business where you're able to do that is incredible. And this is one of my main motivation for me and what I do. Having to be able to interpret a lot of the things that I went through and being able to help people with that. And my focus on the space and everything that's happening with it, even before it became a thing, as much as it is now, I feel this is what gets me, like I'm always excited. I'm always, can't wait for the next thing, So sometimes it's not super positive to be in that sense.
Yeah, because you're always high on adrenaline rush.
Exactly, right? And it's not great for your overall well-being. But if you know how to manage it, and thankfully I do, and everyone can figure it out to their own kind of environment and bubble that they are in, then it's an incredible journey. There is a study that was done a while back, where people that follow purpose or have a purpose in life, they can add up to 6 to 7 years to their lifespan, just with purpose alone. Now, there are other things, obviously. And that purpose can be something really simple, like, taking care of your grandchildren, or having a hobby when you retire. It could be a very simple purpose. Other things that go side to side with this, and you mentioned it already, is where you are within your social circle, emotionally and so on. That's why when a couple, one of the spouses passes on or expires, the person left, they generally don't last long, especially if they don't have a purpose. So it's been documented so often that happens.
Community is important.
100%. 100%. That's the same Harvard study that was done for like 70 or 80 years. And they found the number one thing that contributes to, and all of the blue zones and all of anywhere where there are people living longer, happier, healthier lives, one of the key elements is purpose, community, social engagement, because we are, social animals, like we can't escape it. It seems obvious. But sometimes we shy away from it and we focus on the wrong thing. And with focus comes your reality. So reality is obviously different for everyone, but what you focus on becomes your reality. So everything else you're not focused on, it's passing by you. So, and then what you focus on becomes your life. So having the ability to focus on things that come with purpose, that makes you feel useful, that help you grow, that help others. I mean, what else can you ask for? You know, with all the hardship that comes with it, because it wasn't always roses, right? Tell me a little bit about what's happening with the palm brands at the moment.
Oh.
And that journey, because I remember from our conversation.
I think people, when you make the announcement, when I made the announcement, for example, the people are like, oh, congratulations, that's amazing. For me, it's in yesteryear. It happened, it's been happening for a long time. To be honest with you, up until this point, I've negotiated at least 8 or 9 different locations.
Wow.
Each took a few months. And for each reason, we decided to not go ahead at the last moment.
It's getting particularly hard, by the way. I hear that from a lot of founders, people that are either growing or want to start a business. It is so hard to find the right location with a reasonable amount of rent.
Yes.
Because for most businesses, the rent is so prohibitive that even if you do find a place, you're not going to be able to succeed because, you know, or it will take you 7, 8 years. And for a startup, that's a death sentence.
That's definitely one thing, but there's so many other factors.
Yeah.
Like I also believe that no matter how good you think your brand is or how good you think you are at it, you need to be like smart with where you position yourself, especially in the city. If you think about Dubai, it's very condensed, right?
Yes.
If you look at it from a side view, it's like a little pop-up in a book. You don't want to be too close to competitors who are doing even similar things. You want to space yourself out nicely. There's a lot of communities that are untapped.
Yeah.
Even considering things down to the parking accessibility for people.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Visibility, privacy, surrounding businesses. Do they complement yours? There's a lot of factors, but basically negotiated 8 or 9 different locations, not just in Dubai, but across the Emirates. But then when you negotiate these, you study the patterns, the behavior, the consumer behavior around this.
Right.
Some of the Emirates that I looked at, for example, their behavior is not to get up in the morning. It's to only go to class in the evening.
Yes.
Is the business sustainable on 2 classes? Not really.
Right.
You know, and the rent price is obviously very high. So these are all the sort of things that you have to look for. I had my heart set in another location before this one. And I was trying to figure out God's reason for breaking that branch. And, you know, it came to me now. Obviously, the Palm is like even better than that location. But the one before really tested me, my mind, body, and soul.
Yeah.
Was negotiating it for 13 months as a whole.
Wow.
Started. Had the keys. Gave the checks. Was stopped. So that one really broke me. Because on the outside, as an entrepreneur, you need to show up with a smile on your face.
Yes.
But inside, it was one of those times that the lights were sort of going out. I was feeling very dim. I had gained weight at the time. I was still teaching on the floor. With what we do, you put a mask on, you get on with it. And I was dwindling inside. And then they called me from the Fit Guide at my lowest point and said, you guys got 5 stars in the industry. You're in the top 2% in the world. And
nice.
I always believe that there's little angels watching me. They're around me. And the universe has always sent me a sign when I felt low, because it happens as an entrepreneur. I said, keep going. You're doing well. You might not see it from your perspective, but you're doing well. And that was a really big lift. Amazing. I just remember thinking, thank God. Thank you for showing me like a little, it lifted my spirits. And then I was like, you know what, lick your wounds, get back up on the pony and just continue to find a new location. And I was sitting over Ramadan, I think it was 2023. One of the girls said, why don't you check the Palm? I said, look, I've already seen the Palm. It doesn't have the size requirements that I mean. Then I said, why? Because I need this and I need this and I need that. They're like, do you really need those things? Look at your studio. Are they really optimizing those things? No, they're not. So I thought, okay, I can find a space, maybe a little bit more boutique. You should see it. Everything that we have there at that location is nicely packed in, and it ticks all the boxes.
Right.
Yeah, you're gonna love it. Can't wait to invite you.
I'm sure I will.
Yeah.
I'm sure I will. So, what a journey. I love it.
Yeah,
I
it has
love
ups and downs.
Yeah. So you mentioned you gained weight.
Yeah.
What did you do?
I'm human.
Yeah,
I'm going to gain weight. You know, like people think that you're on the bike, you should be perfect all the time.
Yeah, no, I know.
No,
And I describe it as a tug of war.
Yeah.
So your body is always walking a thin line. You're never on one side all the time.
Yeah.
You have to kind of,
Yeah.
the exposure that you have to everything, even your furniture is trying to kill you. You know, the air outside, everything, the AC, the mold, the toxins in your body, the fish that you eat, the makeup that you put on, the smells that you have, everything is trying to kill you one way or harm you in a certain way. Kill you maybe a little too strong. So we're always playing this tug of war. The body is always playing this tug of war between feeling good and healthy and things that are under control, while you're tipping to another side, you know? And when things compound with stress, with things that are affecting you in a certain way, or at least seem to be that way, like in your case at that moment, when they compound, the body struggles, because we always look at it in silos rather than as a complete system that is tangible and not tangible, that it's energy, but also emotions, that is people around you, but also muscle and fibers.
Is that like epigenetics? Can you?
Yes, I mean, epigenetics is the easiest way to describe it is like the software that runs your body.
Okay.
If you think of your DNA or your genes as the hardware, stuff that you get half of from your dad and half from your mom, the epigenome is your own software that switches on and off some of these genes to get you to be who you are.
Okay.
And we know now that we're able to manage our epigenome through lifestyle. So workout contributes, et cetera, et cetera. We know a lot of things, and we're still learning a lot. The cool thing about this space is that whenever you feel that you've known you seem to know, that be it in nutrition or be it in muscle health or be it in mental health or any of that, it seems like an ocean. Like the deeper you get, the deeper it is. Like there's no end. So the wisest thing that I think I can do in that space is to always admit to myself, and actually I remind myself daily on, I don't know what I don't know. And this is something that is like my mantra, if you like, when it comes to this. Because people listen to what I have to say. And for me to say with absolute certainty that one thing versus another, I know for a fact that this will not last. Something, we will learn more about it and something else. But right now, we know this much, but we're discovering so much more. So,
especially with technology, right?
100% with AI and all of that, the ability to run different simulations, there's so much that is happening. And even with chemical processes, be it peptides or bioregulators or stem cells or exosomes or any of that stuff that is still kind of emerging. You know, it used to take decades for one particular drug to go from A to B. Now it's like weeks.
They could buy it on Instagram.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's a whole different,
like don't go there.
a whole different area, right? So, and therefore, you know, understanding that your system is this, all of these things have to work together for you to be healthy. So movement, mental health, what you surround yourself with, all of that,
food,
right? 100%.
Perfumes.
Yeah, everything. Even the glue on the chair that they're staying in, it does affect you if you sit on it. Like everything, the bed that the mold that is hidden behind your paint, all of that stuff. Now, don't panic, obviously, because when you think about all of this, you think, I have no hope of being healthy. You know, it doesn't work that way because you could only control certain things that is part of your environment. It's not like you could go out and clear Dubai's air and remove all dust and pathogens and all of that. But what you can do is control the environments that you can. I always say, you can't control that, but one place you can control is your bedroom. At least make sure the air in your bedroom where you spend at least 8 hours a day as clean as it can be. Air purifier, make sure your AC is super clean. Make sure that you've checked for mold in that. Make sure that the stuff that is around you, you don't have EMF pollution or in the room. Your phone, keep it outside. Try not to wear any wearables when you sleep, even though you need, I mean, one is fine, but I see people wearing 3, 4.
I was going to add a whoop with the Aura.
Yes,
you'd recommend
I had them for a while. I had them for a while. So I when I'm testing, I'm usually having like 3 or 4 on them, but I do them for a brief time. And for the most of the time, I don't. Like I would have them for a certain period. Like the same I do with CGM, for example. If I'm using a glucose monitor, I would have it for 2 weeks, twice a month. and that's it. But to have it throughout the year is ridiculous, you know? So it's all of these different things. So what I say to people normally is that control what you can,
Yeah.
but more importantly, work on your own immune system. If you strengthen, if you give the body the tools, you are okay.
Yeah.
It's when we overload those tools and we ignore the signs that are outside, or we're completely oblivious to them, and then we're surprised when we're not sleeping, or we have, you know, we have brain fog, or we don't have energy, or we don't have the strength and all of that. So it's kind of a combination of these two. Try not to control your environment too much, control what you can, but more importantly, work on your own immune system, your unique microbiome, your unique identity that is happening inside of you.
How would you describe microbiome?
So microbiome is billions of bacteria that live in your body. And it starts from your mouth all the way to the other end, basically. And it also lives on your skin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, wow.
So this is what keeps us safe, actually, because about 70 to 80% of your immunity comes from your microbiome. So this can be weakened by, you know, terrible food, or all sorts of other loads that you get, toxic loads in your body, like heavy metals, which we haven't mentioned, but, you know, from fish, or even from teeth fillings.
Wow.
So that's why, you know, the biological dentistry now is a lot more popular. It's still super expensive. And unfortunately, a lot of things in well-being or wellness are gated that way, which doesn't make sense to me. Because if one of us is unhealthy, the rest of us aren't. We are a hive. We work together. You know, this COVID kind of confirmed that for us. We depend on all of us being healthy. For the fact to gatekeep certain things, it just doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, that's a different story. So the microbiome, you can nourish through certain food. You have to nourish it through certain food. It reduces your bloating if you do that. I mean, there are certain signs where you know your microbiome is not doing great. One of them obviously is lower immunity, high inflammation, stress, you know, bloating, as I said, light headaches. There's so many of them. And it's not that difficult to keep your microbiome healthy, you know, mostly with foods. But remember, it's not a system that lives in silo. It works with other systems too. That means if you move, you're actually helping your microbiome too. So everything has to be together. Have time for your mind. Super important. Be surrounded by people where you're comfortable with. When we're talking about toxicity, it's never just what's happening inside of you.
It's a whole nother diet, isn't it?
Yes, it's also people. It's also relationships.
I mentioned that in my classes, by the way. I'd say to the girls, the best diet that you're ever going to go on is the diet of removing negative energy.
100%.
Gossip.
100%. And some of us thrive on them because we seek sympathy that way. We get more attention by having a toxic individual in our life because it gives us something to talk about. It gives us sympathy from our friends and other people or some of us are not even aware of it. We're not aware of the toxicity of a person around us. But I see a lot of people where they are happier being slightly overweight, even though they know that it's not good for them, or they're not working out or whatever, because it's their way of finding an excuse somehow, you know, for anything that they want to do in their lives. Because a lot of us get greater sort of support, if you like, or greater pleasure
when there's something wrong with us
from sympathy than we do from admiration. Because as admirers, we're not great at it. Where it's very difficult for a person to admire another very genuinely, because there's always a sense of jealousy, like, oh, I can do this. Someone looks at you and you're incredibly fit, and that person in their mind think, well, if I worked out twice a week, I'll be like this. But you're not. Do it, you know? So admiration and sympathy play like an incredible role in relationships and your own self-image and other stuff like that. It's something that we could talk about forever. I've noticed that you've had these for the whole sessions. Can you tell me what you think about them?
I think they're off right now.
Yes, they are, right, yeah.
I mean, they're nice when you've been training.
Especially for like cyclists, right?
Especially you got sore calves, sore quads.
You've had them before, you've used them before,
I've used them before. Actually, at one point, we were thinking about getting them into the studio and having a recovery room for this.
Yeah.
But it wasn't implemented, but I have used them before. I've used them for recovery purposes. I've combined them, I remember for a day, actually it was a full body suit somewhere.
Yeah, so you could do like up body, like all the way up here. It's used for lymphatic drainage and things like that. So it's not the same kind of pressure.
It's not the same pressure.
It's not the same kind of pressure.
And then I went off into a sauna afterwards, and it was red light sauna. So yeah, I've tried them before.
Yeah, so it improves circulation and kind of, you know, so especially with so when I really got into them is when I was running marathons. I don't know if I told you this.
No.
So I ran close to 50 marathons throughout my life, and I'm still kind of exploring a few things. I have a big event happening at the end of this month. And
how long is the one that you're doing this month?
So this month I'm doing mountains and not.
Okay.
Yeah, so Kilimanjaro
Cross
and
country.
Kenya. No, I'm doing Kilimanjaro and I'm doing Mount Kenya.
Amazing.
So this is my
It's
savior.
gonna be packed.
It's my savior. It really takes out lactic acid and it kind of gives you so much.
Helps you recover faster.
100%. 100%, especially when you're feeling tired.
Yeah.
And if you pair it with stuff like you have, like with oxygen or red light, even if you're doing IV, I'm not a fan of IVs, but even if you're doing IV and you're doing this, it's incredible for that.
Why are you not a fan of IV?
It's just, I mean, strategically done is great, but people are
just overusing it.
Yes, they're overusing it.
They don't know really.
It's just expensive pee.
It's on Instagram.
Yeah, it's expensive pee. And the thing is about IV, it doesn't matter what you put in it because it's so hydrating, you feel good afterwards.
Okay, yeah.
You know, so any hydration is great, and this is like hydrating.
Placebo effect.
Yes, I mean, you feel great after it, you know. Some of them are obviously great, again, with strategy and someone guiding you properly. But I think they're a little overused.
Yeah.
You are awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the episode.
Thank you, Dr. Ellie.
And I look forward to doing some stuff together at your studio and other things. So thank you, guys. I hope you enjoyed this session. There are many more to come. Thank you, Ivana, again.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ellie.
And see you next time.